Okay, so we've got to talk about this. There is a new poll out that basically shows people are against Trump. Let me show you guys. New poll reveals majority of voters oppose U.S. strike on Iran, say Trump has gone too far abroad. And the numbers are pretty stark. Basically, people don't want to attack Iran. This is from a Quinnipiac poll. Registered voters found that 70% oppose U.S. military involvement in Iran. That's quite a high number, 70%, even if protesters are killed, right? Because that's essentially on Fox News every day. They try to say, guys, there's people killed. And I don't want to make light of this, but I'm just saying they're trying to promote that and get you to support the war. But 70% of the people are like, no, let's not do that. 18%, right, support military action in Iran. Here's more. Opposition was mostly along party lines. So yes, Democrats, 79% against. Again, we're talking about military involvement with Iran. Independents, 80%, even more than Democrats. That's pretty interesting. Oppose military involvement in Iran. And then you go to the Republican side, 53% support. Okay? Here's more. The poll also found that 70% of voters think the president should receive congressional approval first before taking military action. And on all these things, I'm with the majority here. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Chances are if you watch this channel, you're with the majority too, meaning that people are against action in Iran. And if you are going to do action, you should get congressional approval. I totally agree with that. Here's more. This is talking about Greenland, which is kind of interesting. Regardless, 86% oppose using military force to take over Greenland, and 55% oppose buying it. So my question is like, okay, if 86% of Americans are like, okay, let's not attack Greenland, who are these 14%? Like, are there really these whacked out Americans out there? 14% are like, yo, let's attack Greenland. And then you have 45% of Americans are thinking, yo, let's buy Greenland. So we got to get these numbers to 100% is my feeling on these kind of stuff. And you can look at some of the other polls, but basically people don't like Trump. They don't trust his policies. You can see here, down in the polls, Trump yanks Republicans towards economic populism. It may not save him. So what are the Republicans up to today? Trump's been on the phone. He's trying to convince Republicans to go with him. Is like, hey, give me the power. Make sure it's okay if I attack Venezuela again. And he did get 2 senators to go with him. It says right here, war powers resolution fails in Senate as 2 Republicans bow to Trump pressure. Because he's been on the phone like last week, and he's even calling Elizabeth Warren of all people, which is kind of a crazy one. I don't know what he's doing with that, but he was calling 5 Republicans, at least. Was really angry that they voted against him, but I guess 2 flipped, according to this. If you're curious which ones, it says Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri, that is, and Todd Young of Indiana flipped under pressure. And then at the moment, we're at a 50-50 vote, and then J.D. Vance is the deadlock. So theoretically, Trump is still interested in attacking Venezuela. That's where we're at. It's interesting. Here's a quote from Trumpers. He says, "Here we have one of the most successful attacks ever, and they find a way to be against it. It's pretty amazing, and it's a shame." And it depends how you want to define successful attack. I mean, now we're knee deep into this thing, and we're going to spend a bunch more money on that. At the moment in Venezuela, at least the reports is like, first the U.S. government's like, yo, if you're American, get out, because they're looking to basically kidnap you, throw you in prison, torture you, and these kind of things. So you're putting people in danger. And when I saw that, I was just thinking we may have a hostage situation or something like that, which would be terrible in itself. That's just from the American side, let alone we killed Cubans, Venezuelans, and I heard also Colombians, so there's that. And then you have the power vacuum also. I mean, it's just, they always act like things are going to be easy, and it's not going to be easy. And then they keep changing the reason of why we decided to attack Venezuela. First, it was the whole alleged drug boat thing. Then they changed that, no, now we're fighting terrorism, and it just keeps changing. And I want to point this out because I know probably if you have MAGA people in your life, they'll say, well, but Chris, because people actually write in the comments, but Chris, don't you care about addiction or substance abuse problems in USA? And it's like, yeah, I'm not discounting that, but attacking Venezuela isn't necessarily the way to address it. Plus, Trump is really interested in that anyway, because if he were, why is he talking about oil nonstop? Like, why aren't you going to theoretically the drug factories and stuff like that? And why are you doing this? Here's another one. This is just today. Trump administration sends letters wiping out addiction mental health grants. right? And you can talk about this, say, with the gun issue in USA, to where people say, Chris, it's not a gun issue. It's really a mental health issue, right? Okay, so if Trump did care about you, why is he cutting funding to this kind of stuff? $2 billion. This is I can tell you the agency, it's the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services, right? That's what we're talking about, the SAM, SHA, and basically just cutting funding to that kind of stuff. So as I always tell you guys all the time, with any of these issues, be it what's going on with the military actions or anything that Trump's up to, invest in your people, invest in Americans. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say, but what Trump's interested in doing, he's interested in dropping bombs. And it's funny because the American people are against it. You can see 70% of the people are like, I don't think that's a good idea. And when it comes to Greenland, that's what they're spending all their time on. And they're using all their resources to meet with the leaders of Greenland. Hey, we should get Greenland. And it's like, people don't want to do that. And so what's really interesting is he's shifting gears because everyone can see the writing on the wall. They're going to get crushed in midterms. And they started to shift over to economy stuff. Now, some of the proposals they're talking about, I'm not necessarily against. I'm just saying this is kind of out of the blue for Trump. So the first is 1-year cap on credit card interest at 10%. Another one is unveiled plans to bar large private equity funds from buying up housing, which actually I'm not against that one either. So I'm okay with that one. And then he's also got bar defense companies from issuing dividends or stock buybacks. So that one's an interesting one because I don't think that's going to go too well on Wall Street. I say good luck with that. I don't think it's ever going to go through. But I think the second one, theoretically the first one, but the banks are pissed off at the first one. The second one, then you're going to piss off housing companies. So, he's just creating enemies all over. But yeah, the housing one, I'm actually not against. So I just want to be clear on that one. Here's the thing that was really interesting, though, is that the Democrats actually see openings with all of Trump's failings, essentially. And they're thinking, this is Schumer here, thinking they could pick up 4 states, maybe more. And I'll be curious if you guys are in any of these states, if you agree or disagree with this. So they're saying, in an interview, the New York Democrats, so Schumer, saying maybe they could pick up North Carolina, talking about the Senate, Maine, Ohio, and Alaska. These 4 states we have to pick up to win back the Senate. So there is certainly a possibility of that. And then they said outside chances of, it was like Texas and Iowa, but they're just putting that in the very possible camp. Here's the thing with the Trump stuff is every day there's so many issues that we talk about. And it's like a combination of Trump's, I'll just say this, directing things and the money allocations in ways that I don't think help regular American people, putting focus on, wars whenever he can, and then this kind of stuff, which is effectively taking your freedoms right here. Ford suspends factory worker for heckling Trump. So basically, from the Trump point of view is if you, say anything bad about me in public, I swear at you, I give you the bird or whatever, and then you lose your job for just basically heckling someone. That's what's going on. That's over at Ford. And then they're just arresting people. This one really bothered me, and I know there's any number of things you can talk about in a day, but I just want to show you what's going on. Native Americans detained in Trump's Minnesota ICE raids. And it says, federal agents detained a handful of Native Americans amid the Trump administration's immigration enforcement. So we're talking about immigration, but why are you going after Native Americans? The detention of at least, so it could be more, at least 5 men in and around Minnesota has sparked an outcry among Native American groups about indigenous people being racially profiled as undocumented immigrants by the federal immigration agents. So when you put all this stuff together, right, be it the, hey, we want to, fight the drug thing, but then why are you cutting funding to addiction services, basically mental health issues, or hey, we care about immigration, so why are you arresting Native Americans? All of these things just add up to just terrible policy. And the thing that's why what the lead was today, though, if you're watching, just understand you are not alone. Other people can see it too, and in fact, the majority are with you. So that's my thoughts on this. I'd like to hear yours, and I'll catch you on the next video.